1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Aw, shucks, I can't dance.
Hey everybody, welcome to Up and Go with Muffins. My name is Daniel, and with me, as always, is my co-host Ethan. Welcome back, Ethan.
Shabbat Shalom, and it is a Saturday, so I get to say it.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, correct this time.
Oh, very PC, very PC.
And once again is guest Luke, just introducing himself there.
Howdy, howdy. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Jump in the gun, buddy boy.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute for us.
Yeah, it has actually.
When was the last time
not
we saw
for
each
you
other?
guys listening, but it has been
but
for us.
This will be released on the regular schedule, but for us it's been
It'll be
5
nearly a month
weeks?
almost.
It's been a while since we recorded, actually.
No, not 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks since we recorded in Auckland, but not.
Not 5 weeks since we chatted. No. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Ethan's gone back to uni, and so we haven't
back in the land of the cold.
Yeah, we haven't actually hung out in a while. Don't worry, you're not missing out. It's pretty cold down here too. Up here.
It's freezing last night. Absolutely.
It was -3 this morning. Fight me.
Oh, okay. No, we weren't that bad.
Okay, not that freezing.
I'm out there scraping the ice off cars.
Yeah, the worst I'd have to do is like throw a cup of water on it.
Yeah, I wish. Day.
So how
it's
are
cool
you guys?
Because you kind of get to make snow, like those like slushy machines.
Oh
where you get like shaved ice and they put like compact it into a bowl and then you get like some magic
get the
syrup
oil out the car
that somehow has flavor.
Yeah.
I get that off the windshield. It's great. It just keeps the maple syrup with me.
And then what? You just kind of
enjoy it like you would a normal snow cone. Is that what they call them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Frosty
yellow snow cone.
Where did snow cones go?
When they die?
Snow cones.
Do snow cones go to heaven?
No, but like I used to have snow cones all the time as a kid.
Guys, what food goes to heaven?
Goes to heaven, yeah.
Everything except for avocados.
Did we have snow cones
here
in New Zealand though, like in general?
Yeah, I used to have them. I used to have them all the time as a kid. And
they're more of like you go to like not a carnival. They don't really have those here either. Like a
festival type thing.
A fair or like a market. A market is kind of what I'm looking to, and there'll be a truck that does snow cones or something.
I don't think I've ever had a snow cone.
Gathering.
You just see them.
It's just ice with
machine.
flavoring on, and if you suck all the flavoring off, you're just left with ice. So
the official Up and Go with
good.
Muffins snow cone machine.
Okay.
Ooh, we need to try that next time, Ethan. We've frothed it. Now we need to freeze it.
Oh,
actually,
we should like freeze it, then use it as like a blender.
Before you finish, I just want to say I've always wanted to get a hold of one of those ice cream maker things. Like, imagine a grill, but instead of hot, it's cold. You know?
Oh, you mean those nitrogen shield things?
Yeah, I see them on Facebook all the time, and I'm like, oh man, I want to try and make ice cream one of those things. That'd be fun.
I looked into buying one, but they're like $1,000 a pop.
Like ridiculous.
What's this?
Have you seen like those videos on Facebook where someone will be making ice cream? Imagine you got like a grill plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of being hot, it's like freezing cold. So you pour like your cream and your milk on it, and then it's like Oreos. You put Oreos on, you crunch up the Oreos with your tools, and you move the ice cream around on the thing. So it just gradually freezes.
And then they like roll them up into like
then they put them into rolls.
Oh,
I'd love to try it. It looks really fun.
Because we've got an ice cream.
It does look fun.
Maker, but it's very different than that.
Yeah. That makes actual ice cream with this. Like you lay it out and spread
Luke wants a
thin
freeze plate.
Freeze
make
plates,
frozen pancakes.
Ooh.
No, that's what I was describing. The ice cream you guys are talking about, frozen.
But that could be interesting though. Like if you somehow had like hot maple syrup, you'd be interested to like have the different textures and things. It sounds like something Heston would do.
Are you finished introducing the podcast, Daniel? Before I just go on 100 different tangents.
We don't have a particular topic for this episode. We're just talking because, like Ethan said, we haven't actually talked in a while. We haven't recorded in even longer. And so I know I've got a few things that I've been doing, and like I said, Ethan's gone back to uni. Luke's got a few cool things to talk about.
Yeah, I do.
And
we be vibing.
Yeah, but just on that though, we do want to thank everyone for all the love that we've been shown with the latest two episodes,
YouTube videos,
10 and 11. Yeah. Wait, actually,
Not quite.
I haven't actually checked the views. Have you checked it lately?
I think like
checked-
episode 10 was 80, right? And then episode 3
10
was
at about
like
80,
40.
and I think episode 11 sitting around like 35. Maybe?
Which for me, I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
yeah, I
well.
mean,
Thanks for all the love and support on the YouTube. Don't forget
Mm.
to subscribe.
Please do.
They were
But I
fun
mean-
to make, and I'm glad people are obviously enjoying them.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely episode 10 was a real surprise because up until then, like, I think we'd only had like 220 listens in total. And so then, like, one of our episodes got like over half, like, no, not over half, but like over,
Yeah,
like almost a third.
Popped off. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get some more live content done at future points in time. That was a cool opportunity to go up, see Jonathan, and use his studio to record. Don't forget to follow him on SoundCloud. And hopefully we'll get some more stuff going on.
Yeah,
In the meantime,
you were
we're
going to say something.
back to the Discord.
Yeah, you were going to say something, Luke. You
You
asked me if I was finished.
Oh, I forgot. I was gonna. It was something to do with food. I forgot what it was now. I'll bring it up
Of
if
course
I
it was.
remember.
Are you guys drinking anything at the moment? You got anything?
I
with
have.
you in the recording studio.
Got some gin.
Forgive my forgive my heathen nature, but I have a gin and tonic. But I can't actually open it because I'm technically on duty in 20 minutes. So.
Big
Okay.
L.
Okay.
So no,
yeah.
I'm not.
I
I got
have.
some whiskey I was given. Have you guys like? Have you? What do you guys think about tips? Let's talk about this.
Tips.
Oh,
Right.
tips and
Yeah.
No, first of all, I want to say something quickly
I'll
about
let Daniel
drinks.
finish. You go on.
So
Yeah.
I'm drinking chocolate up and go, and honestly, I think I've had a conversion from vanilla being my favorite.
Okay.
So
Chocolate's
vanilla
not
was
your
my
favorite?
favorite flavor, and like the more I have chocolate, I'm like, actually, chocolate's a really good up and go flavor.
I think banana is still my favorite for up and go.
I
but,
haven't
like,
had
As
banana.
far as
Okay, you
I
guys
haven't
are
actually
both
had banana up and go. So
munted
it's
in
very
the
good.
head. Banana and chocolate are your two favorites. Strawberry. What happened to strawberry?
strawberry is my favorite of the 1 liters. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
um,
All
1 liter variety. The day that we get a 1 liter banana though.
right. Make
I
a
think-
page on Facebook about it.
I follow a lot of like up and go pages, like the official New Zealand
Yeah.
one, or that, and everyone's always like, "When's the 1 liter banana coming out?"
It's more popular than I would have imagined. But I suppose
Is it newish or
Yeah.
no? Been around?
no. I think it's just been around for an age.
Okay.
It's
Banana.
like
We're talking about banana here, right?
Yeah.
Surely that's one
banana.
of the OG flavors, or maybe like one of the first like releases after like the generic chocolate and vanilla flavors come out, and then they.
I'm pretty sure it predates, like-
the line.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it predates like the protein shake, energizer.
Okay,
That sort of like offshoot of the brand.
Anyway, Ethan, you were
Imagine
gonna.
so.
Yeah, tipping. I was just wondering because like because I'm essentially a taxi cab driver and a valet driver. When I dealt with a lot of international tourists, I always got tips. I got tipped in a lot of alcohol actually. Like people would just be like, "Oh, we can't have this." Yeah, I got given.
We got this
nice
for
bottles
cheap
of
on the
whiskey.
duty free section. Here, have a bottle of this.
Yeah, kind of that thing. And then I've got a couple American different notes for America, Australian stuff. Yeah, I've got. What's the weirdest thing I've got as a tip? I think it was like
Do we
there
want
was this
to know
one
the answer
old
to
American
this?
lady who was no. It wasn't. The thing I was tipped wasn't weird. It was just how I was tipped. Because New Zealand doesn't have a tipping culture, so receiving tips in any kind is really awkward. Because I'm just like,
Because we're all like, no,
sure.
keep your money. Sorry, we say no here.
Yeah.
No, but like, I remember this. I had this like old American lady, like act like she acted like she was tipping me like $20, but it was like 50 American cents. And so like the gap between what I was receiving, not that I was ungrateful, but like because I mean it's cool. I like collecting money.
Yeah.
But it was just really weird because it was like. She was sort of like of the generation that like 3 cents for a coffee type thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in my day,
Yeah.
this would get you a tank to the moon of fuel.
Yeah.
For 50 cents.
Who doesn't long for the days you could get like a candy for a penny?
Oh,
Oh.
or like no, Dad would tell me, he would go to the candy store and get like a bag load of candy for $2 or whatever, like a big bag load, and now like Mighty Ape's like, hey, you want to buy this 1 kg bag for $20?
$20. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the
no.
Back during the good old days of a fixed exchange rate. God bless.
Mighty App's not a good example for cheap candy,
Yeah.
but you know.
I bought
So-
100 of those sherbet lollipops because they were 10 cents a piece at the camp I used to live at. And I bought 100 of them one time to get me through a kids' camp.
Sherbet lollipop? Wait, what are we talking about
Like,
here? Are those like
imagine,
those, almost like
the
that candy that's
fizz
made on like the bracelets?
Yeah, that sort of thing. But they were more like a lollipop, and they were a bit more. Didn't like just turn to mush when you licked them, but it was more kind of a chew it than a suck on it. You could suck on it, but
Man, I haven't had a lollipop in ages. I think Chupa
No.
Chups Cola was a real solid.
I always
contender,
like the strawberry and
ones.
cream ones, all the
Yeah,
watermelon
strawberry,
Never did-
strawberry and cream.
Never
No,
did
but
cream for
speaking-
like hard candies.
Yeah, speaking of tips though, yeah, we don't really have a tipping culture in New
Mm.
Zealand. Like, I'd be a terrible tourist because like people would sit there, or the waiter would be like, or something, and I'd be like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what? Do you want?
I mean-
do you want a glass of water? Like,
yeah.
do you need
Do you
a
want me to
refill?
sit-
Like,
you sit
what's-
down, I'll serve you. No.
What's the problem here? I'm terrified of like traveling overseas and eating places because people expect tips and it's just completely foreign to me. Whereas it's like
Yeah.
it is still like a courtesy thing, right? In like
Well,
the States and whatnot.
No, correct me if
But-
I'm wrong though. They don't get paid. There's like minimum wage, and then there's like a server's minimum wage or something. And like
I
your-
don't know the truth of that, but I've heard that as well. Like a lot of
Yeah,
wing servers, they make their primary income from tips.
yeah, so
What
you
what-
make your tipping is like really like a big part of their pay, more or less.
It's probably
Not really,
That's what I've
because
heard
the
as
way
well,
I've
for
heard it
larger
works,
part.
the way I've heard it works is that they get paid a lower hourly rate, and then they can collect tips on top of that. And at the end of their month, if their tips do not make up what they would have made on minimum wage, then they get paid like minimum wage.
Mm.
So they're always making minimum wage.
Okay.
But if they do well, they're going to get like but it's not like a week to week thing.
Right,
I'm not
okay.
sure to like. The thing with the United States is it varies by state because the
Mhm.
states are very centralized in their lawmaking.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a federal thing.
Mm.
So, like in New
Like-
Zealand, it'll be kind of like Bay of Plenty having different rules.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Auckland.
that is
It's
also
strange
weird.
to us.
That's true. We're
with the
tiny
state. I mean-
comparatively. Yeah, but kind of like you said, Ethan, it's just a bit awkward here.
Mm.
Like, you don't just go, oh, thanks for that. Like, some people do, especially, I don't want to say boomers, but boomers. They're more likely to go, thank you so much for the service, here's $50 sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But, like the previous generation sort of thing, but not here so much.
Actually,
I really
think of it, I've dealt with tips quite a bit. So like
I've been
mum,
tipped as well, but
yeah,
not,
mum used to run an op shop, and often I would help dad in delivering like furniture or even picking up furniture.
yeah.
And sometimes. Generally, they would have a delivery fee anyway, but sometimes for
Yeah.
picking up furniture, we're like, oh, well, we're going past that way. Yeah, sure, we'll pick up, all this furniture to get it out of your way. And
Yeah.
sometimes, they'd be like, oh, here's $5, thanks for helping, or
Thanks
here's
for your
$10,
help, yeah.
whatever. So on that kind of thing, but I've never seen that as a tip, but I guess that's technically what it is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I liked
mean,
the way. Oh, sorry, go on.
no.
Oh.
You go.
I was gonna say I like the way the restaurant I used to work at did it.
Mm.
All the summer tips were collected, and that's what we used to throw a big staff party at the end of summer.
Hmm.
So all the
So
tips
did you have
we
like
got
a
went-
tip jar?
There was
Yeah.
a tip jar, and then just if people go here, have
Okay, yeah.
have a tip or something. And then winter, generally speaking, all the tips would be collected and be divvied up, kind of in a like if you'd only started working like halfway through winter, obviously your tips.
Yeah, I
would be
remember I got a
smaller.
lottery ticket.
Oh, that was
I
that
won-
was
I
just
got-
the Christmas. Our Christmas
Oh, that was
cards.
Christmas present.
The boss would the people in the restaurant bought everyone like cards. That
That's a
came
good
with,
haul
like, a
for me.
lotto
I got like
ticket.
$100 from that.
I won like a good across the 2 years I worked. I think I won like 100 as well. I was the only one the first
Wow.
year who won anything.
Yeah,
Great.
I've never played. I've never bought a lottery ticket for
Neither.
myself.
I've
But
never bought
anytime
one
I've been
either.
given one,
The only lotto ticket
the
I've
only
had
times
was a
I've been
winner.
given them, I've actually won. Yeah, same. Feels good, man. No, what I was going to say is I'm definitely less opposed to receiving tips in the form of like physical items.
Mm.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like somebody I'm working for. Like sometimes if you're doing something for food, well, like we used to get like free lunches or things at the restaurant,
Which
right?
in a
and
way
that's
you
a
could,
form of a tip.
yeah, I guess in a form,
From a
yeah.
form of
Like if
tip.
you, even if you're just working manual labor for someone, they go, "Hey, have a break. I'll shout you some food or buy
Yeah.
you a drink or something." That's essentially a tip, isn't it?
More or less.
Which is
Oh,
I
that's
much
more like
prefer
a
that.
bonus than a tip, though.
Oh, I
right?
guess. I mean,
Like
isn't a
employers
tip a
sometimes
bonus
give you
anyway?
a bonus.
Yeah, but that like a bonus implies like an at the end relative to your perform. I don't know. What's the difference between a
No,
bonus
see,
and a
to
tip?
me, a bonus it comes from your employer. A tip comes from a customer.
Yeah.
Right. That to me is the difference.
Oh, actually,
Right,
So
but like
if
to
your
be
boss
fair,
goes, "Here, I'll shout you out to a meal," you've been a great worker. That's a bonus.
right,
Yeah.
Whereas
Right, okay, fair
if
enough,
a customer
Yeah, that
comes in and
makes
says,
sense.
"Thanks, you did a exemplary job.
You've done
Um,
well.
Here's $10, whatever."
well done. Yeah, no, that makes
Good
sense.
job,
I
sir.
would
I
agree.
don't know.
Yes.
That sounds
So
legit
me and
to
Luke,
me.
me and Luke have been probably on the like majority receiving of like bonuses and then tips.
I got tipped
But I
$50
mean,
one time. It was great.
I'm
Went to
trying
the,
to remember.
went to
I
the
mean,
summer party, but still, it was like, ooh.
in terms of the biggest tip I've got in terms of value dollars, I got given 2 bottles of whiskey that like totaled $220.
Yikes.
So
I mean, that's not
It's
yikes,
like,
that's
whew.
good, but...
it was expensive whiskey. It's nice whiskey. Still got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you'll find in cafes and stuff. I think New Zealand tip culture is generally a jar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A jar on the counter with a lid on it says tips. Yeah.
You know what I thought tips were when I was younger? When you'd like go to a cafe or something with mum and there'd be like the jar that just says tips on it.
Mhm.
I always thought that it was like write a little note and put it in there on how to improve. That's what I genuinely thought it was. I remember
write
going to
it
this
on the
one
coin.
place. I didn't know what there was for the longest time. Like even at like 14, 15, I went to this restaurant. It was a bit dingy. I looked at the tips jar and I was thinking, do I just write something and put it in? Why is there money in there?
Did you guys New Zealand once upon a time had $1 and $2 notes?
I have a
What?
$1 New Zealand note.
Oh, I did know that, but it's not something I keep in my RAM.
I don't like you referring to your memory like that, but alright.
It's true. Deep down on the folders, it's not keep it in the RAM.
Fair enough. No, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I what I'm glad is that it's not expected here and that it is voluntary. Like in the States, you're pretty much and Canada for that matter, you're pretty much expected to tip everyone. Like you tip your hairdresser, you tip your taxi driver, you tip your room service, you tip
You tip everyone.
Like if it's a service, you tip it. And that's like a big thing. Where yeah, it's just like it's like an implicit tax as well.
Yeah.
So it's like not only do they not display their GST, like here we've got GST, right, and it's on the label. Where in the States they don't show their sales tax.
For some reason, it's
buy
law
something
over
that's
there
$10.
to display calories, but you don't.
And
have
then
to
they
display
apply the tax at the thing.
I know it's the stupidest thing. I found that when I was over there. They bloody, like I said, the law states they have to, like all the menus have to state the amount of calories and everything, but they don't have to show you the tax. I'm like, what? So dumb.
Yeah, well, I guess suppose like if you're used to doing it, you're in your head, you'll be used to it. But and because like sales tax varies by state, I think like New York it's like 5%, where like Texas it's like 3%. So
like speaking of the calorie thing, it's like Australia, right? You go to Australia, all the fast food places,
right.
every meal and food thing has the amount of I think it's kilojoules or something.
Yeah, kcals or kjoules, yeah.
Yeah. It's just I know it says like kj or
Yeah.
And like that's because of some law that passed that they just have to do that. Yeah.
I don't hate that they do that, but I don't think I'd miss it that bad. Like as long as I could find the information, I don't necessarily think it has to be there.
Yeah, I don't have solid I haven't looked this up, but I was told that the reason it was is because people like complained, and going, well, we didn't know how much energy and stuff this had in it, and so we were getting fat from eating this food, and I'm like, surely you weren't going to McDonald's thinking it's like healthy food, but
you'd be surprised what lawyers can
I didn't
do.
know how much sugar was in the salad dressing. It's a salad. It's healthy. That's so stupid.
Man, that's a good point though. Talking about salad dressing.
People, stop listening right now.
Jesus. we don't have a large enough viewer base to do that.
No, we love every single one of our viewers, except for you, Brad. I can hear you listening. I'm just really offended someone called Brad is listening.
Yes, I don't think I know someone called Brad. So you were going to say, Ethan, about salad dressing?
It's gone. Oh yeah. It's just it's amazing how much sugar is in that.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Same with barbecue sauce, even tomato sauce. There's so much sugar in those sauces.
I mean, to be fair, though, most of it comes from honey, which is like bitter sugar.
Well, it's
not your
it's like fructose instead of sucrose, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What have you got? You got fructose?
You got glucose, you got fructose, and you got
Fructose
or fracto, whatever it is, and you got sucrose. Sucrose is like processed, like white sugar,
It's like
essentially.
corn syrup.
What's
Corn syrup is like pure.
Glucose is natural
sugar,
sugar that we use as energy in our bodies, and
okay.
fructose is like natural occurring sugar, like the sugar in fruits and stuff. Obviously, it's not processed and that kind of stuff, but it's like natural sugar.
Yeah,
Huh.
I mean, we're not nutritionists, but like I'm pretty sure from my knowledge of it, like the bad part about sugar is the conversion process from sucrose to glucose and the byproducts that are left over.
Yeah.
Not so much the glucose, like the sugar itself, like
Yeah.
the glucose.
I
that you
think
can use.
I'm rusty on this too, but I think fructose, whatever it's called, is just like a
No, not
better
fructose.
It's just as sugar, because we need sugar. Glucose is like one of the biggest things that humans need to actually function. So we need sugar, which is why I think it's so dumb that everything's sugar free instead of being fat free. But it's like
you need fat to process
need-
as
you
well.
need
It's like
fats as
everything in
well.
moderation.
So I said that the wrong way around. Wrong way around. There's too much emphasis on fat free instead of sugar free.
Right,
It's
I
low fat. I
suppose.
was like, oh, whatever. But no,
I don't think anything. Yeah, I think
What?
things should just strive to be like well balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, dare I sound like a muesli, but
Dare you
it's-
sound
it's-
like Up and Go's liquid breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah.
The best
No, but-
breakfast for on the go.
I mean, that's probably the most like meaningless term that gets thrown around is like well balanced, but everything in moderation, including everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I know
that-
what you mean. Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So
Yeah.
If you eat too much sugar, the sugar gets turned into fat because your
Mhm.
body's not needing as much sugar, and then being
Yeah.
morbidly obese or being largely overweight can cause your health to deteriorate, and that's where
Yeah.
having too much sugar is bad. You need sugar, but
Yeah.
if you
I
have
mean,
too much, which is where
my
moderation
general
comes in.
understanding of it is you put on weight your body turns excess energy into fat, so it stores it for the winters.
Yeah.
And so if you eat more energy than you burn, you put on weight. If you
Mm-hmm.
eat less energy than you do, of course that's not entirely true because and then the reason
It's
diet's different is because
oversimplified,
you've got people who have who are because the body's not 100% efficient at absorbing the nutrition in your food, and you've got people who are like way more efficient at
Yeah.
absorbing one type of thing than another, and so then they've got to do this one thing.
Mm.
Yeah,
Pretty much
I mean,
what you've
but
done
more or
there is
less,
simplify it, but not to the point where it doesn't make sense anymore.
yeah,
You're on the right
Um,
track. What you said is true.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
debunk a myth right now. Eating too much sugar will not give you diabetes.
Why?
Can,
why
can you get diabetes though, or
You
is
can-
diabetes
Yeah, how do you
something
get type 2?
have or don't have?
Type
No,
1
type 2 you get.
diabetes is where your pancreas doesn't make insulin properly. Your body doesn't naturally make enough insulin. Insulin is what allows sugar to be absorbed by cells. Essentially, it works as
Oh,
the
okay.
key.
Yeah.
So that's a chronic condition. You can't get that one. Type 2 diabetes is when your body stops accepting the insulin. Basically, the insulin stops working the way it's supposed to.
Right,
That is
okay.
curable, and that comes from poor diet. Sugar obviously will play a part in it, but when people go, "Oh, you're gonna get diabetes from eating all that sugar," you'll get fat and you'll get cancer. You might get diabetes as a
So,
byproduct.
thank you.
but-
I'm so relieved now.
Yeah. So you're gonna get diabetes. You're gonna get cancer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like don't
my
worry,
worries
you won't
have
get
cleared,
diabetes.
Luke. Thank you.
Oh no, I'm glad to help. Glad to
That
be
is one thing that
persistent.
frustrates me though. There's okay, so I take stats,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that is true to say sometimes is that basically there can be a relationship between something, but it is so pointless that it may as well not be there. But it's still statistically significant, right?
Yeah.
And so you get all these
Right,
studies
okay,
being
yeah.
like, oh, this new thing causes cancer, and it's statistically significant.
Yeah.
But what that means is it might, if you basically go, can we use this thing to predict if someone will have cancer? And
Yeah.
it might explain 1% of it,
Yeah.
but it'll still be statistically significant.
Mm.
And then they're like, and so it's in practice
Mhm.
completely useless.
irrelevant.
um,
but there's still
My
that
my,
chance.
my my professor has a really funny example of this, which I won't bring up on the podcast because it's a bit NSFW, but so I'll tell you guys later. But yeah, it's just frustrating when people are like, oh, this new thing causes cancer, and it's like, does it? Or is it like,
Yeah, and it's the way the media portrays it, when literally, like you said, there's like in particular people with a particular condition, if the stars align and the moon shines at the exact luminosity of 7, then you'll get cancer. But other than that, it's
Interesting.
like
So this is completely off from what we're talking about, but just on that, did you know that like vampires originated from like Greek mythology?
I feel like
would not
I've
have guessed
heard
Greek.
that. Like I said, not in the RAM, but I feel like I've heard that.
I would not have
Like
guessed Greek either, and they're not explicitly called vampires.
Right,
Yeah.
but
But
that's like the general idea.
There's a Greek mythological story about this guy, and he goes to see a prophet, and stuff happens. He falls in love with the prophet's daughter. Blah blah blah. Essentially, he gets cursed.
Classic.
He gets cursed so that he can't be in sunlight because it burns his skin. He can't. Somehow something happens that he gets cursed again, and he can't touch silver, which is more a werewolf thing, but kind of vampires too. He can't like go in churches, can't like holy sites, and he can't die, and he like essentially thirsts for blood. So it's not called a vampire, but like you look at all the facts and you look at the story, and eventually the woman he's in love with, he like is able to drink her blood and make her immortal as well.
Right.
And
well,
it's like you're like, well, that's obviously a vampire.
Yeah.
Well,
you'd assume.
not what
You'd
they called
assume that vampires would originate. Where is Transylvania? Like Czech Republic or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Ukraine, European,
that
sort of like
sort of
Estonia,
like that
Slovakia.
It's one of the Avakias. That sort of area.
Yeah,
Romania.
if you put my
Romania. Thank you. That's what I was trying to remember. Couldn't remember
if you had
the
put
name.
my feet to the fire, I would have said like 14th century Romania or whatever. 'Cause
Yeah.
Was it Shelley who wrote the first vampire novel? Who
I
wrote
wouldn't
the first
have a
vampire
clue.
novel?
Dracula being the first, or
Yeah, Dracula was the first. I'm trying to remember who wrote it.
Dracula book. Bram Stoker. Never mind. Don't know who
Good
that
on
is,
him.
but
Thanks for bringing him into this. Without Bram Stoker, we would have never gotten Hotel Transylvania, the best movie.
Oh, do you guys? Okay, another thing on vampires. So I was listening to a whole podcast episode about vampires. This is where all the stuff is coming from.
Go on.
Do you guys know of the person, like the historical figure Vlad the Impaler?
Yes,
I've heard the name.
The Romanian fellow.
Yes.
What?
And did you realize that him and Dracula are the same person?
Yes, I remember reading about that.
I've never thought about it.
I didn't know. I didn't know that Dracula was like an actual historical figure.
Yeah, I knew that Dracula was based off Vlad the Impaler. I did know that. I wasn't sure. I probably
Because
wouldn't have been able to
Vlad
tell
the
you much
Impaler's
more.
name was Vlad Dracula.
Right. Okay.
Which actually just means Vlad, son of the
Vlad,
dragon.
Right. Yeah.
I just didn't know that. So
I remember hearing this story about there was this like soldier who would send his army onto like the hillside at sunset to like attack the people who lived in the valleys, and the way that they did it on their horses in the shadows, like that's where you get the myth of like turning into bats and coming down.
It's all news to
sure.
me.
That's very it's very poorly explained, but I remember something along the lines of that.
vampires are like my family's. My mom and dad have always been against like vampires and stuff, but I've always thought, other than being like really edgy, what modern vampires, and media like really edgy. Other than that, I've always thought vampires as quite interesting and cool creatures of the dark, like monsters.
Yeah.
Vampires are probably
cryptids.
I think they're probably the most. They suffer from overexposure. Definitely.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's a vampire. Like, they'd be definitely
Overexposure
more
in media
spooky.
and stuff,
Yeah.
and entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, and also just becoming sort of like cringy and poorly written.
Have
and,
any
like,
of
the
you
really
guys
popular
seen
ones.
the Twilight movies or read the books?
No, haven't.
I've technically
Stephanie
seen
Meyer.
them all, like doing air quotes there, as in
Yeah.
I would play League while Miriam was watching them.
Yeah.
So, like, I've seen bits and bobs. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen them either. Just curious, because those movies are so controversial. People either love them or hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really funny watching Rob Patterson talk about them though.
Who's Rob Peters?
He's
He
the guy who
played
plays
the
like the main vampire,
I knew that.
and he like pretty much hates that he did that, but he kind of needed to do it.
He
for
would
his
have
acting
made
thing.
coin off that, surely.
I'm trying to remember someone who's got like this story with. Oh, it's Jack Whitehall. There's this English comedian. He's got this story about him and Rob Patterson went to the same school, and they were both drama kids, and like he was competing for the lead role in this thing, but he ended up getting the tree, and the main role was given to Robert Patterson. So he has this.
So he has this
undying
grudge.
hate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I think I've talked about it, not on the podcast, but just to you guys possibly in general, the video game Vampire, but spelled with a Y. Cause it's
yes.
It's a Dark Souls style game, but it's based in like
Yeah.
1918, during the Great War and all that.
Yeah.
And like that, and so it's this doctor, and he gets turned into a vampire, and there's this whole like underground vampire society, and all this, and like that side of it, I've always find that cool with vampires. But other than that, you're right, Ethan. They have like overexposure and
yeah. I mean, there's a few really good vampire in media things like Helsing, springs
Van
to
Helsing,
mind. And Van Helsing, and I mean, he
Van
exists in
Helsing.
like many different things. You've got like you've got the anime, you've got the games. I think there's some books.
Kind of
Van
on
Helsing.
the old.
I think he originated in a book.
Can I change the topic a little bit? Or vampires?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So, we were talking just before the show, and I think you, Ethan, mentioned creepypastas. What do you guys like? No, I'm not serious. Because like, what do you?
Yeah.
Because like the latest one is the latest one that's he came out in 2018. Came out. The guy drew him first in 2018. Siren
Who?
Head.
Sorry.
Siren Head's
Head.
the latest
just
big
quickly,
creepypasta.
Van Helsing originated in the Dracula novel. He was a vampire hunter.
I see. He's a vampire hunter. Yeah.
That hunted down Dracula.
Okay.
Because like
Sorry,
the
continue.
the internet, like someone will make a creepypasta. Like we have Siren Head. Slenderman was like the last one that really blew up. He's a creepypasta as well. And the internet just laps that stuff up. And like, what do you
By the
guys
internet,
think
I think you mean like a very vocal minority of like edgy 14,
of...
13-year-olds.
You'd be surprised.
That's not to say that does not include
Okay, no,
edgy older adults.
creepypastas are still definitely a niche, but then like you get the odd one like Slenderman or now Siren Head and those kind of ones that just take like the internet by storm, sort of thing.
Yeah, but like I don't know if Slenderman would have been as big if like the whole PewDiePie culture thing didn't exist, and like we were all like 12 when it came out.
That's true. That's true. You have a point.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not sure.
I think.
I'll tell you what I watched the other day was it was like. Do you remember there used to be a channel who could do like epic rap battles?
Mind.
I was still talking, boy.
Epic rap battles of history.
It wasn't epic rap battles of history, but they did like an animated version of that. And I watched a video of it was like Slender Man versus the Unwanted House Guest, which is like like an old Icon Has Cheeseburger meme.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean it did not age well. It was like memories.
Yeah, that's kind of like a time of the internet that we all kind of repress, I think, a little bit.
It's like the Yo Mama channel or whatever it is.
I think what makes creepypastas creepy is creepy and fascinating. And I could be just because I don't know it, but what I get fascinated about them is like the lack of knowledge about them, if you know what I mean. So you've got Siren Head.
Yeah.
What is he?
Yeah.
I think what is Siren Head?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I watched a very interesting video by the Infographics Show on YouTube the other day that was talking about the video was like particularly about Siren Head, like what is Siren Head, but it was also like as creepypastas as a whole. And it talked about how
this is the first I've ever heard of anything called Siren Head.
Oh, really?
Bro,
but please explain for us.
While Luke's talking, I will send you a picture.
Okay.
Essentially, like what he kind of said was the way that almost works on the internet is there'll be such like little bits of information that comes out, or things will be decided about it, and then people will think about it, and then they'll start to wonder if it's real or not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the whole kind of the whole point of them is to seem like they're real, but they're not real, but scary. Whatever.
Have you guys seen American Gods? Because like
No.
Well,
it looks
it's
good.
I mean, obviously it's a novel by Neil Gaiman, and then there's the TV show, which is good. But it was interesting because it's kind of like the whole take was that the gods get their powers from they come into existence from people believing in them, whether or not they existed in the first place. So like a story told enough times can like manifest itself. It was neat. I like stories like that. One of my favorite anime is kind of based on that idea. It's a big fan.
Yeah,
it's definitely
interesting. It's kind of got some sort of Last of Us vibes.
Yeah, kind of.
To be honest, though, I think just comparing Siren Head and Slender Man, they're both like very tall and lanky,
very similar.
And I have always found tall and lanky quite creepy.
Well, I also think it's it's very evocative of the forest. Yeah, I know.
No, you're saying sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one of the things that like scares most people is like a forest at night. And I mean, like if you've ever been in one as well, around one, and sort of just like the way that the light plays with the trees and the shadow.
I don't like trees.
Because I mean, like that's like to be afraid of the dark is like in us deeply.
Yeah,
I think most people are afraid of what's in the dark rather than the actual dark.
Well, because you're afraid. Yeah, you're exactly
afraid of
right.
what you can't see.
You don't know. It's the fear of the unknown.
Into the unknown. Oh, copyright! Don't sue me.
But yeah, and I think like a forest is like a really good I don't know like a low level representation of it, and so most people like identify that forest is spooky, and that means things that look like trees are spooky. I remember as a kid, like me and my friends used to sort of just go play in our forest, and we'd tell stories about the spooky things in the forest. And like no one taught us to do that. Like it was just like
just written in the human code almost.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA, your DNA.
I mean, I'm still.
I wonder if that's.
So.
Yeah. Have you seen is A Quiet Place 2 out? I'm still upset with you.
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think
that's
so.
The one where that's the one where there were those monsters that like were super sensitive to sound, and if you made a noise, you'd get it. Oh, I really enjoyed that movie actually.
I love that movie.
It was a really good film.
I'm so sorry. 2021. Oh wait, hold on. What? 8th of March, New York. Okay, maybe it is.
Yeah,
out.
2021.
Initial release.
If it is.
Yeah,
maybe it's like. Maybe it was like a staggered release, you know.
Anyway, yeah. Have you seen the first one?
Enough about creepy.
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, I loved it.
Surely. Also, we're just gonna have to title this episode "Cryptics and
Spooky
Creeps."
Things.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
how's uni,
Spooky
Ethan? How's uni?
Oh, don't talk to me about that. It's good. I've got full classes, all of which I enjoy. All my professors are very good.
Are you happy to be back and actually going to the facility again?
Yeah, I am. I mean, lockdown. That's an interesting point about how like learning and how lockdown affected learning and whatnot.
Yeah.
Being back at university is different, and like, physically being attending classes and being able to interact with your lecturers makes it a lot easier. Because it doesn't have a disconnect. Also, one thing I found was that when I was flatting, watching lectures from home was a lot easier when you're constantly having interaction with people. But now that I live alone, it's a lot harder for me to like just learn from distance because it gets like if I'm not like seeing people for like days on end, it takes its toll.
Yeah.
Do you struggle with distractions and stuff as well?
I suppose so. I'm lucky to have enough space that I kind of have a spot where I work and then a spot where I muck around.
Yeah.
And so I don't, and so being able to separate that mentally in my house is a big thing. Ideally, I mean, what I'm doing at the moment is I won't do any university work at home on the weekdays. And I try not to on weekends unless I have to, because like say work calls me to miss a class. But just being at university like 9 to 5 and doing my work there and being able to come home and like that's where I work. This is where I do home things. And separate that mentally is a really important thing. I think
I've found that recently as well. Like if I'm finished now, but when I was doing like the big study for the final exam of the stuff I've been doing, if I'm like sitting at home and I'm like need to read my material or watch videos and stuff, I'd just be like, this is where I play games at this computer, this is where I chill out. I don't want to do study here. So I was just going into the ambulance station and reading my books there and writing on the whiteboard and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
distancing
I'm very
myself
much.
from.
I'm terrible with distraction and stuff.
I'm awful with it. I deleted so many apps off my phone just to try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think having a room, or like, ideally you want a room. If you're going to work from home, like, you really should have like a place where like that's where you work, that's where you do your office, and it doesn't come into your home life. I think that's like a big thing YouTubers tend to talk about, is that like working from home really starts to take their toll from it, and that's why you get like a lot of big YouTubers end up like renting an office or having an office with other people, so they can actually go and work, and then they can come home and
Right. Okay.
do their own thing, because it takes a toll on you mentally when you don't have any time to relax or unwind, or you can't unwind because your body. I mean, we are so like, and built into us is this massive, like, we're pattern recognition machine.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do. We are so good at pattern recognition, and so if you train yourself to like, if you're working at home, then you're going to be stressed, and then you start to associate like your work and everything, and the negative emotions as well as the positive emotions.
Yeah.
Which I think we've touched on the podcast when we talked about. I think Luke, you mentioned like doing like a cafe and having your house above it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the same thing, Ethan. Just the correlation of if you get stressed at work, then being at home just has your mind just connects the two things: stressed, home.
Yeah, and it's definitely, and you can kind of, like, I remember when I started university, I went, that's for chumps, kind of thing. Like
yeah,
most of
I
us
was
do.
exactly the same up until very recently.
And then you kind of realize, like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
you don't get to just say no to like what's being built into you by like
you're always just
years.
like, oh, that's just a myth, whatever. I'll just sit at home and do my study, no problem. There's a problem.
Really.
Just so speaking of. Oh, sorry, were you finished, Ethan?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, speaking of, Luke, do you want to talk about what you've been doing in the ways of work and study?
Finally finished my study. I know when the podcast first started, all those many months ago, I think I talked about studying to be an EMT and whatnot. Finally, I finished the diploma a little while ago, so actually I have the paperwork. I've had that for a while. But as of Thursday, this one recently gone, I had my actual assessment with the ambulance service with St. John, and I passed that, so I'm actually allowed to. I'm actually an EMT now.
Woohoo! Congratulations!
Finally. So it's really only like it's now
March
starting
31st,
to set in.
by the way.
Yeah.
Episode 1 came out when you talked about studying to be an EMT. So
wow, that's a while ago. Yeah, it's only like now just start, because it's been. I mean, obviously, like uni normally goes for 3 years, but I mean, this has been like 18 months. Where with that assessment day was like the thing you kind of going, oh no, it's just around the corner, or it's so many months away, always on your mind. I went to bed that night and I was just like, it's done. Like,
oh yeah,
I can sleep. And I played some game. I've been playing a bunch more video games like today and stuff. And I was like, I can play this and not be thinking, oh man, I need to be studying, or oh no, I've got this thing coming up, I should be doing something else right now. It's just like, whoa.
I kind of hate that feeling though, personally. Like, I hate the last day of exams, because it's that transition period is the worst, of like realizing like, and then having to go like, oh my god, I've got so much time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a job, which like most uni students don't, you go from like literally having like a 60-hour work week to not having one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're studying properly, you've got a 60-hour work week.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like staying up and waking up and going, wow, it's done. Got to find something else to do now to keep me occupied.
I do think, like, in terms of like habits that lockdown created, and then I'm gotten out of now that I'm back home and I've got a schedule and I'm having to go to university. Like, as I worked a lot of nights, and I definitely think it's not great for your health. Like, I don't think these people are like, you stay up late, like. I mean, maybe it's different for everyone, but I know for me, like, I think it affected my health negatively.
I think
staying up late. Are you saying?
Yeah, well, just even being up at like not having a night nocturnal pattern.
Yeah.
Especially because of how hard it was to get back to something normal. I mean, I can easily like slip into a night pattern, and if I do, it's so much harder to get out than it is in. It's
I've kind of found like a similar thing because I prefer to work nights just because I don't know, I've always liked working a night better than the day. But once you're like properly in a night shift schedule, like, even you're still sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night, but it's backwards, and it does. People like, my mentality is always like, oh, I'm sleeping enough, I'm fine. But you kind of just not quite right. You know, your body does want to be awake with the sun. It's written in the code, and then when you break that, you're sleeping fine, but it's just still in deep down. You're like, it's not the best. It's not the best for your mental, and it does build up over time as well. I've found at least.
Yeah, I definitely think. I also think there's like a lot of habits which sort of it's like a what do you call it? A feedback loop. You get into some bad habits, which or you might have some like mental issues or like struggles that you're going through that lead to some sort of subpar habits, and then those subpar habits like feed into that, and you know it ends in this like never-ending spiral. Because you don't want to be like one of those people who are like, go for a walk and you'll be happy, but because it's like it's not that type of like simple thing, but there is truth to like if you are not doing some things that maybe you should be doing, well then maybe you should try it. Like I mean it's a weird loop. It's real hard to even start doing those things in the first place, but like it's really important to be doing those. I feel. I mean, getting to university and like having a life and doing that, I mean, made me a lot happier. So.
Yeah, humans need routine.
Yeah.
Like not everyone is great. They'll be like, oh, I like to just wake up in the morning and do my own thing and then rack off to that's still a routine, you know?
Yeah.
Like formalized routines, if you've got like a whole day planner written out, I wake up at 7, I go for a walk, I go for a run till 7:30. 7:30 I shower, I get out at 7:45. 7:40 I chill for a bit, go on my phone. I only use my phone at 7:45. 8 o'clock I have breakfast. I've never been into that kind of thing, like having a proper like schedule for your day, because I know if I broke it once I'm in it, I'd just be so upset with myself. But
just on that, I do try to do like that, set myself for like a proper routine. Like I have, you know, this time I wake up, I just let myself wake up, you know, slowly for a little bit. Certain time I go for a run, read my Bible, etc., etc. But then what happens is like if I miss one thing in the schedule,
it just
my
throws
brain
you off
my
the
brain
whole
just
day.
goes stuff it. Yeah, just like for that day. Like so, if I wake up too late to go for a run, or like you know I've got a sore leg or something, or I can't go for a run, you know I'll end up not reading my Bible.
Yeah, the whole thing just goes out the window essentially. You're like, well, I've already missed the run. What's the point in doing
it's just
this sort of thing? You know?
and it's just a weird thing that my brain particularly, but I think you're right. I think it's the kind of the pattern thing that.
And I know some people really struggle with if they do miss their run. They'll get really upset, and then the whole day for them is just ruined. Whereas, like, you probably a bit more chill, like, oh, whatever, had a sore leg, I'll just make do, and your day still goes by fine. You've missed the routine, but other people that will really mess up their whole day, just because they like missed one particular thing in the routine.
Well, I think expectation is a big part of it. Like,
and it's all
I'm not sure about you guys,
too.
but like, like the one like. I don't know. There's not things. I don't tend to get upset, but like the one thing that will upset me is if I'm expecting a very particular thing, and then for like a very arbitrary reason, it does not happen. Like kind of like a good example is the kind of I remember this one time that like it was one of those things. You know, I was making some bread or sandwich or something, and like you know the butter was for some reason it was like colder than normal, and so when I spread it on, it like tore up the bread, and I mean that just ruined my day.
No, I'd laugh because that is something that I would 100% do myself.
I mean, but like I was like unreasonably like upset with that. Like it was just like now the entire day is bad.
If there's two things that instantly ruin my day, it's if I can't find the cheese slicer within like 10 seconds of going in the kitchen, if it's not in the drawer where it should be, and I open the dishwasher and it's not there, and I open the other drawer, it's not there, I'm cheesed off immediate, pun unintended. I'm annoyed instantly. It really irks me if I can't find the cheese slicer. And if wraps stick together, and I try to separate them and they like rip.
Do you mean like food, like
quesadillas?
Bread wraps?
Sorry, not quesadillas.
Okay,
what do they call them? Tortillas.
Tortillas.
If they are like stuck together and you look like go to separate it all gently and it tears, that really winds me up.
I don't know. I bought
Those
a
are the
rice
two
maker
things, man.
recently.
Two things that instantly
great.
annoy me. Rice, did you say?
Yeah, I bought a rice maker. I'm loving it. It's good.
Not huge on rice.
Yeah,
Don't mind it. But
yeah. I mean, it's good for me. I mean, like what? I bought like a $15 bag of rice, and I mean, I've been living off that for the last 2 weeks.
it's definitely worthwhile. I'm just don't know. I do
It's
like a
just
good
that's
bowl of like white rice, a good bowl of basmati with cheese and salt and some olive oil. That's nice, but at the same time, I don't know. I'd rather have noodles.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some noodles as well, which I'm eating. Ego noodles is a big thing. What are you guys' opinion on, like, going quickly sidestep into food, is like, specifically eggs, I quite like the flavor of like a raw egg yolk. Like, I like my eggs runny.
What, like fried
I
egg?
don't.
Like,
I don't like the texture
every
of like
egg.
cooked
I love
yolk.
Oh, yeah,
it gets
definitely
all
not.
like crumbly and that kind of stuff. Don't
yeah.
vibe with that.
I'm fine with it,
Nope.
but I definitely prefer a runny
Yeah.
yolk
Right.
to fried yolk. My favorite way to
Yeah.
to cook an egg is, right, you fry it normally,
Yeah.
and then and then you flip it over, but only just for a little bit, just so the top
Yeah.
Just
kind
to
of
sear
gets
the white.
I like that as well.
just to kind of you get a thin layer of frying, and then you put it on your plate. So you still got a runny yolk, just cut inside it and everything, and that's my favorite way to have it.
I love
I'm
how
the
it gets
same
all
way
over
with
the
you.
noodles and in the rice. And,
Oh yeah, if I'm I'm kind of split. My dad taught me the thing to do, right? So you would eat like egg on toast, right?
Yep.
You eat the egg whites with the toast and everything, and then you save the egg yolk and you just put that, like, you get that in your mouth, and you just like kind of you burst it in your mouth.
Okay.
And it's just
Interesting.
it's nice. But I also
Yeah.
love having egg on toast, and you cut into the yolk,
Yeah,
and
I
it
know
like
exactly
spills
what you
all
mean.
over the toast, and it's like yum.
That's good.
There's like nothing better than like an English muffin and then like an
Oh.
egg yolk thing. Like, yeah.
I don't really like egg on its own. Like I do like egg, but I don't think I'd be as much of a fan of the egg yolk thing that you just described. But I
Right,
definitely,
yeah.
I don't like fried eggs if the white gets a bit crispy on the bottom. I really don't like.
Really, that's interesting. I quite like that.
I've always said, I'm not a massive fan of eggs. This and the next thing. I've pinned it. I don't like crispy or not burnt, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
I know what you mean.
the
crispy
real
eggs.
like crispy part on the bottom of the
Mhm,
white. If that gets crispy, I just don't like it.
So are you
Not a
good with
fan of
like
that.
poached eggs? Or
Poached eggs are my favorite way to do eggs.
poached eggs is pretty solid.
I like poached eggs. If you either steam it or just crack it in a pot with vinegar and salt, those are my
I might
favorite
actually
ways
have.
of
I've
eggs.
got an egg cooker I was given, so I might actually have like some. What are they called? Like soldiers, where you like make a soft-boiled egg.
Soft-boiled
and,
egg,
like, you
yeah,
get-
soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
yeah.
dip, then you crack it open,
Egg and
dip your,
soldiers.
dip your little,
Might have some
dip
of
your
those for
little bread
dinner,
in.
like tea tonight. Big
Oh,
tasty.
We
What-
one of the Facebook groups I'm in for another podcast, Sporadically Bored. They announced just because there's two hosts of the podcast. One's American, one's British, right? So there's a lot of
Yep.
like differences, and so the Americans don't have egg and soldiers or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And so they like made an official, apparently, annual Sporadically Bored Egg and Soldiers Day. I missed out though because I was staying.
Is that
I was
seriously a
staying
thing
for-
Americans don't do though?
I think yeah. I don't think Americans do
I've
soft-boiled
never
eggs.
eaten
Yeah.
a lot of them, but like, I know of them. I mean, soft-boiled eggs are like top up there. Like they're solid, a good staple. Boiled eggs are just great. I love them. Boil them,
Yeah.
mash them, put them in a stew.
Nice juicy crisps.
Yeah, I mean, personally, probably one of my favorite ways to have eggs is scrambled. Not the American scrambled, probably not even English scrambled. Probably close to like the French style scrambled, which is kind of just like a custard. I mean, I know you guys.
I definitely like. Yeah, I prefer them fried to scrambled. Definitely.
Yeah. So the reason I like them scrambled, at least the way I make it, it's almost like a savory custard. And I mean, that's not for everyone, but I mean, I love
Yeah,
it.
you have yours like quite like Gordon Ramsay style, eh?
Yeah. Like, honestly, a little bit undercooked even.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can get away with it because we don't have
We've got
terribly
good quality
unhygienic.
eggs here.
Yeah, we don't have terribly unhygienic poultry farming practices.
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister.
I like talking about like raw eggs. I've always liked if you make like noodles or something, and when the noodle they straight out the pan, the noodles are hot as anything. You crack an egg in there, it'll like cook just enough That it's not like just egg white and yolks congeal at the bottom of the dish. But
what I tried
that's
the other
good.
night was just raw eggs on rice, sort of mixed up to be like a porridge, and that's quite nice.
I always crack a couple raw egg, or obviously I crack a couple eggs in my smoothies when I make them in the morning. Adds good texture in a way.
I haven't done that.
What is egg yolk?
but-
Egg yolk's an emulsifier, so helps. In a
Oh
way.
man,
yes,
it
also.
never surprises to me when I'm cooking with like egg yolk on how much air and like sugar and stuff it can take.
It's crazy how big you can make one egg just by beating it and putting a bit of sugar in. How much
It's
volume you
ridiculous.
can get from it.
You can make it a fluffy boy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some crazy fluffy stuff. I've
Um,
always liked incorporating air. Like I really, those I don't know if you know. You surely you've seen the videos, Daniel. Like the really fluffy pancakes, like Japanese really aerated fluffy pan. I want to try and make those sometime.
Oh,
That'd be
okay.
interesting.
Yeah, let me know.
Don't you need like a don't? How do they do it? Don't you need like a special pan for it, or is it
Maybe
just like
I don't know.
the
I've
way
done
they
the
do it?
research. I've just seen people do it, and I'm like, that looks fun. I want to try and make some really tall, fluffy pancakes.
It could be just something like it has like a lot of baking soda or something that releases a lot of oxygen, makes it big and fluffy.
I like the science of baking in particular.
Yeah.
That's how come I like baking. I really like at my old job. I really enjoyed doing the real technical, like you must add your sugars when they're exactly 107.3 degrees to do this. I really liked the technical science aspect of it.
Speaking on that, Luke, and I'll ask you too, Ethan. But me and Gabby went out last week sometime, actually week before, to Tauranga, and then we just got talking about baking and cooking, and then she asked me whether you prefer like baking or cooking, and I said I think it's cooking because I've seen you cook more. I've like barely seen you bake.
Me or Luke? Sorry.
Luke, sorry. Whereas you, I said I'm not sure actually. But which do you guys prefer, baking or cooking?
Do you know your answer straight away, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, I
You
think
go
most of the
first.
things I like fall under baking.
Okay.
Pies, like desserts, most of those are baked.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing to do is to work with sugar. It is the most unforgiving mistress there is, but it is
Yeah, it is.
the most fun as well. So I mean, I'm not sure if that comes under like cooking or baking. I think most
Sugar.
people think like like working with sugar and candy and whatnot. I mean, it's really its own thing. I wouldn't call it either. I like cooking a lot, but I suppose it's just cooking is more of an art than a science in ways, where baking is more of a science than an art. Where like cooking's quite forgiving most of the time. You can normally balance something out by like if you add too much of something, then you can balance it out with another something. Baking, not so much, and that does make baking a little easier in some ways. It also makes it harder in others. But I mean, I guess the way I would and like making an analogy is the way for me at least. Baking is like a paint by numbers thing, where cooking is very much like a freehand sketch, and they're enjoyable for different things. But like most of the time, I'm in the mood to just be like, I want to make something that will work and will turn out exactly how it does, and I don't have to like it's not in the pan 10 seconds later long and it's ruined.
Yeah, I was talking to Gabby about that very thing, that you enjoy the like following the process and the recipe and that sort of part of it.
Yeah.
I do also like being able to vary it once you know what you're doing. That's fun, but that's more of a cooking thing.
I think you've almost hit the nail on the head there. Like I'm probably it's hard to compare. Like you say, baking is follow the recipe, precise measurements,
Get
science
a knife out and level the
in a
cup.
way, sort of thing. And I like that. I really like that aspect of you get like, because some recipes are just like, oh, it's a hard recipe to follow, which is funny, but that can be because it's really technical, and I really enjoy that technical side of it. But then cooking, I'm probably better at cooking because I've done more of it. But then cooking is a lot more creative. You can get the whole, okay, I've got this particular cut of meat. Let's try some of these. You can. It's a lot it's a lot more forgiving. So I don't know if I could pick. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
I definitely empathize with that a lot. I mean, I feel like cooking is way better as an as a creative outlet, right?
I think I've got a good way to summarize it. I prefer cooking for other people, but I like baking for myself.
Ooh,
I think
okay.
that's good.
You know, like if I'm bored,
I
or
would
something,
agree with that.
a really fun way to do. Oh, let's try and make fancy dessert from, I don't know, one of someone's fancy desserts. You're like, okay, let's sit down by the ingredients, and I'm gonna spend my afternoon doing that and see if I can do it. Whereas you got friends coming over, you buy a good leg of lamb, and then you concoct some marinade and go, yeah, I'm gonna put on this really mean feed for my friends coming over. So I think one way I look at it is some fun way to spend an afternoon. I feel like a cake. Let's try and make a fancy one that's going to be hard. And then the other one's like me expressing or cooking for someone to like, or a meal, whatever, to like make them happy or something. I guess.
I think
There's nothing. Sorry.
No. I think what. Oh, sorry.
I'll jump in and go.
You know what? I wasn't part of this, so I'll jump in now.
I really like the satisfaction in a way of when you've spent like the evening cooking dinner for someone, you put it out in front of them, and you get to like watch them enjoy it. I guess.
Yeah. They take a bite, start eating, and they're like, "Man, this is good. You did a good job, Luke."
That's I really enjoy that. I really like the preparing for people, them sit down and they enjoy the meal I've prepared. I really like that. Whereas baking, I don't get that as much.
Yeah, I personally think like baking is something you do for yourself, and then I know personally like I love baking if I've had a really hard week, because it's like if providing everything goes well, and it normally does, you know, it comes out. It's like I got this right, if nothing else. And it's like it might be like a control freak thing, but I don't know. It's just like nice to have like, it's like, okay, I might have had like tons of like random things happen that weren't you know, that just like messed with my plans for the week or anything.
Yeah.
Like at least this is mine. I get to make it. And then it works, and then it's enjoyable.
Like baking was super satisfying at my old job, where like you'd make like marshmallow, for example, it's super simple, but it is ridiculously hard at the same time. Like the recipe is only a few ingredients, but it's so technical, the process, so precise, that if you like get one little tiny detail wrong, you'll just cook the whole. Well, cook unintended, but you'll just the thing that will just not work. So like it was super. It was like one of the best feelings was coming into work the next day, because you had to let it sit overnight, poking that marshmallow, not seeing any moisture. It's perfect, as you're like, yes. That was like such a fulfilling thing as well. But then that's a you thing, which was down to your baking being a you thing. It's
also funny because like it was like if you see like 270 grams of X, it's like you better believe it's 270 grams. It's like 270. Oh, so 270 like 6 was most like it would always like be some like a really weird odd number. And it's like, okay, this is obviously done by trial and error to like get the exact thing.
So you get it bang on.
I mean, we've kind of gone on a tangent of you asking this question, but I do think it's interesting to talk about, Dan. So, I mean, if you want to like talk about something new, just cut us off. But
no.
I mean, I also feel like baking's a lot easier to get right the first time. Cooking has so much that can't be taught by recipe. Like getting the pan to the right, like you have to know that your pan's hot enough before you put something in. You have to know what it's right. You know, you've got to have the right tools, and sort of just and most likely you're going to screw things up like a couple times before you get them right. Where with baking, once you sort of bake one thing, you bake them all, and you can kind of just chuck. Like, I mean, every pasta is the same. It's just slightly different variation of, ingredient. It varies the ingredients. It varies that, and you give you a different result. But more or less, it's same theory. Where I mean, cooking varies so much.
Well, like say you take a leg of lamb, right? You have almost an infinite amount of ways you could prepare that leg of lamb, right?
Yeah.
And it all boils down to personal taste in a way. Whereas something like meringue, you do the meringue the way the meringue is meant to be done, or else you are not going to get meringue. You're going to get something. You're going to get punished by the sugar. Which I think it boils down to that. Yeah, which in a way, like one thing I always like when people tell me they can't cook, I always tell them I'm sure you're capable of following a recipe. You know?
Yeah.
Like if you just read the instructions, like some recipes are hard to follow, or it gets real technical, and you do kind of have to know some of the lingo and like actually how to do a particular thing. But if you can follow a recipe, you can cook.
I'm not sure what you might think about this, Luke, but I also think baking's a lot more accessible because it's, and I also think this influences my opinion a lot now that I thought about it, being that baking is so much cheaper than cooking.
Yeah, because what?
And both are pretty expensive.
Yeah, eggs, sugar. The thing you need for baking more so is good equipment than good ingredients.
Yes.
You need you can't expect to go. Oh, I'll go back to meringue. I'm going to make meringue, but you've got a cheap hand mixer or a whisk or something. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas cooking, if you a nice pan is nice, and it would be ideal to have that, or particular fancy ways of cooking stuff. But at the same time, you don't need that. It could potentially yield a better product, but you can still take.
I don't think necessarily the idea is that it's better; it's that it's more consistent with cooking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'd agree with that. It's more consistent. Whereas baking, if you want to get a good product, you need to have good equipment. All the stuff.
I might sidestep here and I want to talk about my most hated idiom saying that people do that irritates me to no end, which is poor worksman blames his tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is true in some cases.
Vengeance.
That is true in some cases, obviously. But
there is
a lot
a
of the
difference.
time,
It is true that a poor workman probably will blame their tools, right? A poor workman who doesn't realize they're bad. But that doesn't mean if you're blaming your tools, you're a poor workman and that your tools aren't to blame. Sometimes your tools very much are to blame, you know?
But if you bloody stuff up making a basic whatever, like meringue again, and you've got a KitchenAid, you're cooked in the head, bro.
Yeah, I do think that's the example where it is. If you've got the right tools for the job and then you're not able to do it, then that's where and then you blame it on the fact that, if I just had this thing, it would be magic, I'll be better. There is an example. There's truth to that, but people almost always say it in the case where it's they don't understand that there's probably a very specific thing that would make this that's designed to do this thing, and you don't have the thing to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or
it's
As long as you're not coming out here as one of these Karens who's got this new kitchen tool specifically designed to open a can 7mm by 5mm.
Yeah,
there's
so
much
a limit.
Specialized equipment. I'm just you're just entitled. That's your problem.
But it's when people scoff at you because you're using a sous vide, right?
Yeah.
Or things like that. They have no, this is it does a very specific thing that is very useful. I mean, I love sous vide. It's probably my next big purchase.
I wouldn't mind
sous vide.
It's essentially something that keeps water at a temperature.
Yeah. So you vacuum pack some chicken breasts and you put them in a bath of water, and the sous vide machine maintains that at a constant 52 degrees.
And then that will bring the chicken, and it'll bring the chicken up to it, but it will never go above it. So it's very useful for working with chocolate. Any candies and stuff that you need to get something to a specific temperature, but you can't go over it. It can't go under.
I like
so useful for that.
Fruits and stuff, to be honest, too. That's nice.
I like sous vide eggs. You can get
I haven't tried that.
You can pasteurize your eggs as well, which is just an extra. If you're an American listening to this and you were enjoying our raw egg talk, but you were lamenting the fact that you cannot eat your raw eggs, if you pasteurize them using a sous vide machine, you can. Because you just basically heat the egg up to the next hot enough that it kills the bacteria, doesn't kill the egg, and bring it back down.
Say you got a chicken breast down and your pan's 300 degrees and you put the chicken, it's gonna burn on the outside before it cooks the center.
Classic thermodynamics.
Okay.
So if you've got a constant chicken is considered safe to eat after it reaches 63 degrees. So if you,
I think I know mine in Fahrenheit. I'm not sure.
if you keep it 63 degrees Fahrenheit, it'll kill you. If you put it 53 whatever degrees, it'll cook it to 53 degrees the whole way through, consistently. So it's a nice tool to have, but it's not
Yeah. I mean, I probably lied when I said it'd be my next purchase because I've got things I want, like a stand mixer and
I want a vacuum pack machine.
Yeah, that'd be useful. A vac pack is super useful.
We've talked about food for 20 minutes now or something. Daniel's really.
Oh no! Another topic. Am I the topic generator?
You started this topic.
The banter creator. No, I like one of the podcasts I listen to. They it's really hilarious. They'll have a banter section, and this guy will just this guy Gobby. He will just bring out random facts. He's like, "Did you know
Gobby.
that?" Gobby. Yeah, Gobby. Gabby,
yeah.
like for Gabrielle. Yeah, that's
Gobby.
no Gabby.
Gabby.
Yeah, but no, it's very American. Very
English is weird. Okay, just it's fine. It's Gobby.
Gobby.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Gobby. Anyway,
Gobby,
no,
if
he'll
you're
just
listening,
bring
I'm
up a
sorry.
random fact, like, did you know that dolphins, like, have unique names for each other? I believe that's one he actually did say. Did you guys know that? Dolphins have
I did
unique
not.
names for each other?
I'll take
know
dolphin
that.
names for 50, Alex.
What
wish
is
we had.
dolphin names? Yeah.
I wish we had
Sorry.
Jeopardy.
What is dolphin names?
No, I was just gonna ask that. Have you guys been doing any gaming or anything recently? I know you, Luke.
No.
You've been playing quite a bit of League with me and stuff.
I've gotten back into League. I went off League like ages ago, and then I kind of went off everything super competitive, like Counter-Strike, Valorant,
Mhm.
all the kind of sweat try-hard games for a while. It's kind of 3 weeks before my final assessment day because I needed to focus and I didn't want to like whatever or drag down teams because I was too busy worrying about that. And I've been off League for a while because I kind of just got sick of it. I was playing like a dog and I was like, eh. But I'm getting back into that actually. I'm kind of tempted to get back on the rank grind actually of League, to be honest. I've kind of, because like I said, I got rid of TikTok, I got rid of Twitter, I got rid of YouTube off my phone, all that kind of stuff. Which was like whenever I got into bed, I'd watch YouTube videos. That was my nighttime routine. Now that I've kind of like broken all of my regular routines, I'm kind of going, maybe I don't need to watch YouTube all the time, or maybe it's time to maybe I don't need to play games with play Valorant with the gang every night, sort of thing. I'm kind of enjoying like not solo flying, but kind of more just playing with one or two people. You know what I mean? Like today when we played Valorant, that's the first time I'd played in with more than like a full 5 stack in weeks. First time in ages. And it was nice, but I'm kind of more on the play Far Cry with Jonathan or kind of solo duo sort of situation at the moment, which I'm enjoying. I'm liking it at the moment.
So you're more on the like story games at the moment than competitive.
Kind of story or kind of League of Legends with one other person sort of thing.
Right.
However, speaking of Far Cry 6, watch the trailer. I'm so pumped for Far Cry 6. I've talked about Far Cry 5 I don't know how many times on this podcast now.
Was that guy like the guy from The Mandalorian? You know,
Look,
he's the guy from Breaking Bad.
It's the same guy. It's the same, and Breaking Bad as well.
I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but yeah.
No, but yeah, I'm so pumped for Far Cry 6. That's going to be a ripper of a game.
Besides Ubisoft's shady practices of recent, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah. I don't need to. I'm sure I don't need to reiterate how much I like Far Cry 5.
No, yeah. Ethan, you said that you haven't really been doing any gaming.
No, I haven't really played anything since last time we spoke. Really.
What about board gaming? Are you back in the board game club that you had around there?
No, I should probably go hang out with those guys a bit more. But like, normally it's just a conflict of nights. Because
right,
I mean, sure, like if like they start at like 7, so if I want to go, there's nothing wrong with that. But like if I want to go after, they might be starting early nowadays, so I should go check. But yeah, it was like, well, do I want to be at university from 9 till 9?
Right,
And so I would like to be playing more board games. But with my currently, I'm working. I'm at university 4 days a week, and then I work 3 days a week. So like I don't have my mornings free at all, any day. So I've only got my evenings to do, and evenings are like I'm not someone who likes to plan my evenings. It's it's evenings are almost like sacred spontaneous realm where it's like almost always like I don't know how I will be feeling that evening. That makes it really hard to plan things. So
I was going to, speaking of board games real quick before we move on from that, I played what was it called? I played a board game called Wingspan last night actually for the first time, and I really enjoyed. Basically, the point of the game is you build a bird aviary. Essentially, it sounds like not lame. It can sound lame when you put it that way, but it's a really cool. It's a really nice chill kind of. You're not playing like Ticket to Ride or something where you're try-harding and sweating the whole time because you don't want someone else to take your route. But I really enjoyed it. Like I'm not a massive board game but I do play the odd board game here or there because Daniel's so into board games.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a really good time actually.
Yeah,
if you're looking for a game
great
to play,
because,
get Wingspan.
like you said, and I know you're laughing, Ethan, at like try hiding it for Ticket to Ride.
Yeah,
but
I'm a gamer through and through.
But like Ticket to Ride and a lot of games, there's a lot of ways to screw other people over.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
And this game Wingspan, you can't influence other people's stuff. Like there's no way you can't steal their birds or steal their resources or anything. The only thing you can do is there's an open supply of like food that's available. So 5 dice, which represent food, and there's an open supply of 3 birds, which are available. So you could take maybe the bird that someone else wanted, but that's really not a biggie. Like a new one will come out that it's just it's very much you're doing your own thing. Okay. It is kind of a complaint that you have said before, Ethan, about games about not needing to care about other
only
people's
in
turns.
competitive games. That's my thing. Is like, is it like aimed at like a hardcore we're playing Risk type thing, or are we?
No,
is it like just more of like let's get together, let's have fun.
To me, very much.
It's too nice and just docile, you know. I was sitting there going, "Yeah, my birds. I'm building my aviary. I was just having a good time."
Yeah, it's very much like yes, you don't really need to care about other people's turns, other than certain bird powers say on someone else's turn, But if you've got that, you're keeping notice of that. But like, you're just doing your own thing, and in the end of the game, you'll compare who did their own thing better.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
And you're right. Look, it's a very chill. You're just relaxing. You're doing it.
I really enjoyed it. It was really nice.
Yeah,
so if anyone's looking for a chill board game to play, check out Wingspan.
Yeah,
really cool game.
Quickly, just that particular critique that I do bring up a fair amount is particularly for the domain of games that are set to be like competitive, in the fact that it's not marketed as a game that you get together and you talk to other people while you play, right?
It's like
because I hate games,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hate games that like encourage basically not paying attention to anyone's turn and just like doing other things on like waiting for your turn when the idea is to be beating other players and not cooperating. Like obviously, like in like a casual cooperative game, you want the game to facilitate talking to other players, I think. But I mean, just opinion.
Yeah, no, I can understand the annoyance of in a competitive game, and I'll use maybe Raiders of the North Sea for example.
Yeah.
Of like it's competitive and you're trying to do stuff first, but you don't need to concentrate until it's your turn, and then you can look and see what other people did more or less. Or
particularly with long-term times. I really don't care if it's like 30 seconds until it gets back to your turn. Or even like up to like a minute. But like as soon as it's like going to take like 8 minutes to get round to you and you don't have to pay attention, it's like, this doesn't like make me want to like look at the board for 8 minutes when I could instead look at for 30 seconds on my turn and then do the same.
It needs to have that thing where your next move is going to be heavily based off the people who go before you, sort of thing. Yeah,
I really like Dice Masters. I think that did a good job of that.
That's also a really good game.
Dice Forge, you mean?
I enjoyed that one. Oh,
sorry, that one.
Sorry.
Yeah. Dice Masters is a good game, but I don't think either of you have played Dice Masters.
We played it. I remember when we unpacked those. You bought like that big tower of dice, and you and Ben, I think it was, went halves in it.
Oh wait, no, yeah, I remember. Yeah. No, Dice Forge. Yes, Dice Forge is good, and it is quick. And that one, the interactivity. I don't know. It's very interactive because you're rolling your dice on everyone's turn.
Yeah.
You're getting something every single turn, not just your turns. Like no, that there's a reason it's my favorite game. So
it's great. Yeah, I like it. Is that made by Garfield Games?
No.
What does Garfield Games make?
Garfield Games makes so they are my favorite publisher. They make Raiders of the North Sea, Explorers, Shipwrights, Paladins.
Oh, them, yeah.
They make very big, heavy Euro games, like quite strategic and definitely on the longer side of things.
We do need to play that Twilight Strategy thing or whatever it was.
Twilight Struggle, yeah. I still haven't played it even against the AI since
I haven't. I haven't opened it.
So it's this game. Look, it's kind of like Risk, but it's very, very strategic and thinky, and it's just.
Oh yeah.
So I played it the tutorial, and then it's like, okay, you know how to play. You're on your own now, and I was like,
I'm not ready.
I'll press this X button up in the corner.
Yeah. So
you guys-
my generic strategy of winning games wouldn't work then. Listen real hard during the tutorial, then just devise a strategy. And
I
just win.
listened I was paying lots of attention to the tutorial, and then I was like, I do not know what the best move is to make. It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's just a very thinky game.
Yeah,
Have you guys?
pretty good.
Yeah, in that vein, are you guys fans of like RTS games like Rise of Empires, Age of Empires,
RTS? Oh yeah, I love
Civilization.
Age of
What does
Empires.
RTS stand for?
real-time strategy? So like
Oh.
StarCraft.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
yes. I've played a
Um,
lot of Age of Empires in my
I'm
time.
not sure
I've
if
been
Civ
playing
count. I'm not
quite
sure
a
if
bit of it
Civilization technically comes into
I
it.
think
but
Civ's on the. It's like
But,
On the spectrum, but
it's
it's
on the
turn-based.
spectrum, but it's not. Yeah.
yeah, people people include it though. Like
Yeah.
that
I
type
really.
of game.
I'm not very good at Age of Empires, but I do really enjoy playing.
Yeah,
I haven't played
so
Age of
we
Empires
played
in
it.
years. But I love
What did we play, Luke? 2?
Age of Empires 2, the Conqueror's expansion.
Yeah, so we played Age of Empires 2 with Luke when our friend Cameron came over. Shout out, Cameron, if you listen. And after then, because Miriam has it on her Steam account, I've been playing it every now and then. Because I do really enjoy it. I
really enjoy it too. It's
with
nostalgic
Luke,
for me
not
as
as
well.
much as Luke. I mean, more so than Luke. I'm trash at the game, but it's enjoyable. It's fun.
It's fun if you don't have a sweat in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun to get what is it? It's like Rise of Nations, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is it's essentially Age of Empires, but it's a little bit more modern. It'll be really fun to get like, since I always played the game as a kid without like friends to play it with.
Yeah.
So it'd be really fun to like get that and like get a server going and play against each other. I think that'd
Because
be neat.
we did Age of Empires with like 5, maybe 6 of us, and that was really fun. Just like we did like one where everyone was solid, and we did another where it was like 2v2v2 sort of thing. I just really like it. It's fun until you get destroyed, but at the same time, it's just real fun to like sit down and everyone's kind of in the thing and you're having a yarn, or you're scheming with other players or sending messages. It's good. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, so you said you played Age of Empires. Did you play anything else like that kind of vein?
I've done Empire Earth, which is essentially the same thing, but it goes right from like the Stone Age up into futuristic technology.
Yeah.
So like the last age of that is robots and
I do like those
machine
games.
war stuff. And
That's kind of what
I
Rise of
haven't
Nations
played. It's only been in the last like 12 months, if that I've kind of gotten back into Age of Empires.
Yeah.
But I played heaps of it, like heaps and heaps and heaps when I was a child. But I
I-
haven't played, and I'm trying to get back into it now. Like,
Yeah,
just-
I'm not
just because
super.
it's fun.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in like multiplayer games at the moment. So I think it'd be
Yeah.
really interesting to get into like a RTS campaign type thing, like Civilization, Age of Empires, those type of games. Might be worth having a throw at.
Yeah, I reckon. I do enjoy those. I played some of the Age of Empire 2 campaigns. Like, I'll never forget the Attila the Hun one that I did a bunch of when I was a child or kid, whatever. But yeah, definitely wouldn't mind playing it. I really like those kind of games as like a duo, you know? I'm not a massive gamer by myself, but if like Jonathan or you or Daniel or someone was like, hey, do you want to work together on this Age of Empires or that RTS style game campaign we'll play through, whatever, I'd be like, absolutely, yes, please. That sounds fantastic.
What's that? Halo Wars. Has anyone ever played Halo Wars?
No, actually,
No.
that's the RTS
I
Halo.
heard
game,
it was
though.
bad, but I mean, it might be
But
worth playing.
it also got
anyway.
a sequel though, so kind of been.
Yeah, that's what I was
Too
thinking. I
bad
heard that it was
doesn't-
kind of tragic as well, but it probably just
Selling
because
well
it was
doesn't
the
make it
sweat
good.
tryhard Halo players going, well, this isn't Halo.
MB2K gets a sequel like every year, so
That's true because people keep buying it.
and I don't think most people would classify them as good games. But I mean, the people who play them probably would. So, but
That's just the game that the Chad boys play who've never touched a game controller in their life, but then know how to play NBA or FIFA or something.
I'll tell you what was a great game though, was and this will strike some memories if you guys were used to this, but it was a type of game that for some reason you put the disc in, you could boot it up, and then you could take the disc out, and the game would keep running.
Is this for like PlayStation 2 or like something like
No,
that?
this was Lord of the Rings: Battle for Middle Earth. So essentially,
I haven't
Age of
played that.
Empires, Lord of the Rings themed.
Yeah.
And so me and Miriam used to play it because we could put the disc in, boot the game out, take the disc out, put it in, another computer, boot the game up. At least I think that's what we did. I've got a very vivid memory of doing this, so had to have come from somewhere.
I think you would be right.
I borrow games from the library, install them on the computer, and then give the disc back.
You
Don't sue
naughty
me.
boy.
Did you guys ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon or like?
Yes, Roller Coaster Tycoon was my
Tycoon
jam,
games.
brother. Yes, Moon Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon 2 was
Moon
great.
Tycoon.
As well.
Sorry, what? Go back.
What?
I had a
Sorry,
Moon
you said
Tycoon
Moon
one.
Tycoon?
You built a moon base.
What?
That sounds
That's
neat.
cool. Yeah,
That
I
one
never
was
saw
fun.
that one.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and Zoo Tycoon 2 were my two.
Was Zoo Tycoon 2 the one with the dinosaurs?
I think that was number 3.
No, that
I don't
was.
remember. Zoo Tycoon was Zoo. There might have been like an
that was
expansion
3.
or something that
I
you
had
that I didn't, but
I had the gold edition of Zoo Tycoon 3, so
Ooh,
yes, that had the
Flash
dinosaurs.
Boy.
Yeah,
we
it was
had
like,
the one with the dinosaurs, I
tacky.
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was number 3 in expansion.
I just
Okay.
liked being I'd build this massive zoo, then I'd be the zookeeper. Like I'd walk around and sweep up the paths or feed the animal. I had so much fun just getting into
That's
it.
right, yeah,
as a
because you
child.
could go into
Simple
like a first-person mode.
Yeah,
and walk
Yeah, you
around.
could.
You could do that on
Like, you could
Roller
shoot
Coaster
the
Tycoon too,
dinosaurs.
couldn't you? You could ride the roller
Yeah,
coasters.
yeah.
Yeah, you
You
could.
could like insert your soul into one of the guests.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a new game that came out and it was free on Gold, Xbox Live Gold, not too long ago. It was
Is
like
it the new zoo one?
No, it's Jurassic World something or other. And it's
yeah.
essentially Zoo Tycoon, but just dinosaurs and with the official Jurassic Park
There's a new.
stamp on
I
it.
think it's called Project Zoo. Came out recently, which is essentially Zoo Tycoon but revamped for 4K and whatnot.
Mhm.
And that I wouldn't mind playing. I wouldn't like spend $60 on it, but if like came to like 15 or something, like what I deem is reasonable, then I'd probably play it and get some good enjoyment out of it.
Mm.
People seem to be kind of fickle with that when you think of it. Like, I mean, the minimum wage in this country is $18.90. Like, even after tax, we're making like $16 most of the time if you're on minimum wage.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like,
just
people are like only 100 hours. That's not more than $30. And it's like, I mean, like personally for me, I mean, some people use the idea of what is it like 10 hours, or like 20 hours for a $60 game.
yeah.
I think it's. I think games are actually too long. I think like shorter, more refined games are better. Like Doom.
I
Oh,
think
it depends on
20
the
to 30
game,
hours of
I think,
playthrough is
but-
good.
But I wouldn't disagree with you.
I suppose like, but even like some games work long, right? Like The Witcher, like that's like a 500-hour game,
That's an investment.
right? But at the same time, it's always I'll start playing it and then I won't play it for like a week and I'll forget all the controls and I'll forget everything and it's like
Yeah.
a massive learning thing to get back into it, and it's a real like struggle. I think. Yeah, I think you're right. It does depend on the game. Doom Eternal, which is probably one of my favorite games, probably my game of the year at the moment. It was about 16 hours, but it didn't stay too long.
But like a game like Skyrim, right, or Fallout
Yeah.
4, a game like that, it needs to have lots of content.
Yeah, but the kind of the
like-
what is it? Is
RPG.
it technically an RPG?
Yeah.
That kind of thing needs to have lots of content, but the kind of more fixed storylines, like even Far Cry in a way, it's open world, but it's still
Yeah,
story,
I would agree with
I
that.
set stuff that needs that. You don't really want that more than like 30 hours tops.
Still-
Absolute top.
I mean, like even with like a game like Skyrim, I think I'd personally prefer like a strong like 30-hour campaign than like a 100-hour game that's like
No,
got,
but
like
then
20
that's-
hours of stuff with myself.
Yeah, but that's a different game. Essentially, is what I'm saying. You can yes, if they wanted that as a game, then that
Wouldn't want that to be RPG.
then that I
style.
can like what's that Star Wars
I don't
one
know.
that I have? Star Wars
Jedi: The Fallen Order.
Force
Jedi
Awakens
Fallen
is the
Order.
movie.
Yeah,
You
that
said
I don't remember how long that campaign.
20
is.
hours, I think roughly it is.
Okay, well that was good, right? That was a great 20 hours of solid story, solid gameplay, and I'm like, yes, that's beautiful. But when I play Skyrim, I
Right.
want the ability to have lots and lots of content rather than a really refined content. So that's what I mean
Right.
by it depends on the game.
Okay. I see. I'm not sure if that's what I want from a role-playing game, but I understand why you might want that.
Yeah, I think I agree with Daniel here. If it's a roleplay game, I want like a decent main quest and then heaps of like stuff to do on the side. I want to be able to change the color of my eyelashes, you know what I mean, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then in a game more like Fallen Order, similar, like I said, kind of Far Cry, Assassin's Creed sort of things. None the side stuff's irrelevant, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to do it. It's not gonna. It'll level you up a bit better, but the perks are all like fixed perks anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. 20, 30 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose people also play different games for different reasons. Like, I can't speak to Skyrim because I really haven't put more than 30 hours into it. But when it comes to like the Fallouts, you know, I didn't play them because they had ridiculous amount of content, but rather I like those role playing. I like the more refined sort of. I rather have fewer things to do, but each one be really, really good. And I'm not talking.
I said Fallout because you know it's often compared to Skyrim, but I even me and Miriam have this conversation quite a lot. Is that it's Fallout, its main story is good, and then it's all of other content is all right. Whereas Skyrim is kind of, you know, its main story is not bad, but all its content is what makes the game great.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
I want a long
Fallout
game
is definitely when you play Fallout, you want to do the main quest. When you play Skyrim, well, when I play Skyrim, I really could care less about the main quest. Right, I'm going to join the Thieves Guild and do that, or going to join the companion.
Do that for ages. If the game's built around character, as in you build a character, I want long game, lots of options. If it's built around story, I want 15 to 25 hours, 15 to 30, somewhere around there.
I still think even if it's for me at least, I don't think the like games would be better if this were the case. But I wish there were more games that were built around character, and had fewer things to do. But like each thing you could do was really interesting.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
because I maybe one of the whole maybe this boils down to the fact that like side quests are just pretty bad at the moment. like I think I don't like fetch quests.
Sure, so annoying.
They've got their place though.
Yeah,
there's a whole category of board games called pick up and deliver. That's essentially fetch quests. It's
it just sounds annoying to play. Honestly,
it depends on the game. I've only played one that I can think of, to be honest.
I think if it was some like really stupid and hilarious concept, like it's something crazy, like you're a I don't know, what's something that's like family friendly. You know what I mean? Like if I'll just use a
you're
really
picking
crude
up
example.
bananas
Like,
and feeding
them to
say
you're a drug dealer, you know, and you've got to like stock up on particular drugs and then deliver them to your like your clients or something. I think that would be a funny board game to play. That would be hilarious. But if it's something boring like Catan themed and you're the guy who delivers the stone or something, boring.
Yeah.
It needs to have some kind of thing that makes it interesting. But
yeah. Anyway, I think that was a good little chat.
Good little catch up.
It.
It's a bit less directed than some of our episodes, but we've got there's a place for that every now and then.
But we stayed on topic with food.
Yeah, exactly. It
On
wouldn't be
theme.
an up and go with Muffins podcast episode, whatever we call this thing, without at least 5 minutes of food content.
I don't think we've shielded for Sanitarium yet, though.
No, I talked about Up and Go. I was mentioning
we did
Sanitarium's chocolate flavored Up and Go.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I wish I'd said this earlier on. Shout out to Sanitarium for not sponsoring. They donated
to St. John,
like
right?
1,500 or something Up and Goes to the ambulance service. And it's massive.
That's right. Yeah.
Loved their work. Saw the post and I was like, that's really cool to see. That's something I can get behind.
Mm-hmm.
Same way Sanitarium should get behind us. No, I'm kidding. Except I'm not. You know, good stuff. Good stuff. Company.
Maybe
Love to see that.
You guys got anything interesting going on in the next week or so?
Nothing crazy. I'm just kind of relaxing a little bit after all the strenuous activity of bloody passing a diploma.
Good on you, mate. Nah, I've just got work and some study. Nothing too fancy.
Lost games.
Looking forward to the PlayStation 5. Saving up for it.
Oh yeah.
Get a nice TV with it.
PS5 chat.
Yeah, nice.
Looking forward to the new Crash
we
Bandicoot,
won't go into it, but the trailer just came out recently for Halo Infinite, the new Halo game, and like it looks good. It looks pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So that's us. Thank you for listening. You can join our Discord.
Tell us how bad and wrong we are about
which
things.
will be in the description below. We have Instagram, email, upandgowmuffins@gmail.com. And last thing to do, I guess, is to say goodbye. So goodbye.
Bye. Thanks
Ciao.
for listening. See you next time.
Yeah.